Hello and welcome to a new edition of DW TV's business magazine Made in Germany. I'm Monica Jones. Thanks for joining us. Since Fukushima, Germany has switched off 7 of its nuclear power plants for safety checks. And many voices are calling for a permanent switch to renewable energy. But how realistic is that call? Before we try to answer that question, first a look at our agenda. Alternative energy. An entire region in Germany is setting an example. High-tech ceramics. A French city develops new applications for an old product. And auto interiors. Audi's top designer delivers luxury on 4 wheels. Fukushima has changed the political landscape in Germany. In the wake of the nuclear disaster in Japan, Germany's renewable-friendly Green Party won a major state election. And the anti-nuclear movement not only gained fresh momentum, but seems stronger than ever. So could Germany eventually become nuclear-free? In fact, several German regions have long been working on converting to alternative energy models. Situated right at the border to the famous Black Forest, the city of Freiburg in southwestern Germany has long been a forerunner in the Green Revolution. Freiburg's mayor is a member of the Green Party, and it boasts the largest number of solar-panelled roofs in Germany. We paid a visit to Germany's Green Energy Showcase.
Freiburg is Germany's greenest city and was the first city in the country to vote in a green mayor. The region regards itself as environmentally pioneering. Clean energy is in, nuclear power is out. Demonstrations against atomic energy are regularly held in the middle of the city. No wonder one of the most experienced solar technology companies in Europe is located here. The Solarfabrik company in Freiburg produces 800,000 modules for photovoltaic facilities a year for France, Italy, and Germany. People here in the Black Forest are proud that their region is a leader in environmental protection.
There is a long tradition here in research and development and environmental thinking.
Last year, the German government's decision to extend the lifespan of Germany's nuclear power plants came as a blow to the solar energy industry. But the CEO of Solarfabrik says the crisis in Japan is a political turning point toward alternative energy.
Of course, we hope that if the extension is retracted, then consumers and investors, for example municipalities, will build up their own energy supply and invest in solar parks. And that business, which dropped to zero for us in the first quarter, will revive.
Schönau in the Black Forest, about 40 kilometers from Freiburg. Here, even the church has a solar roof. At the end of the 1990s, the citizens of Schönau bought out their electricity supplier. Now their electricity comes primarily from hydroelectric plants in Norway, and they resell it all over Germany. Since the reactor disaster in Japan, up to 300 new customers are signing up every day. That's the former weekly growth rate. And so the company is expanding and needs to extend the building. Michael Schladak is overseeing the construction, making sure the energy-saving features are in place. He tells us that customers of the big energy companies can't verify whether their electricity comes from nuclear plants.
If you want to switch to ecological electricity, you need to know not only how the electricity is produced, but also where the money goes. The only way to change the economy is to change the flow of money at the same time.
Back to Freiburg and the Fraunhofer Institute. This branch of the institute is specialized in solar technology and is researching how Germany can shift to alternative energy. The Fraunhofer Institute tests equipment for solar energy companies. Everyone here is convinced that a nuclear exit and a complete switch to alternative energy are feasible.
It depends how urgently we push the issue. We've made studies, together with other research institutions, that show it can definitely be done by 2050. But if we work harder at it, it's easy to imagine that we can switch entirely by 2030.
People in Freiburg are banking on solar power, even though the sun doesn't always shine here. They wish all of Germany would follow their energy-saving example.
Well, it will certainly be interesting to see how many more solar panels will pop up on Germany's rooftops in the coming years. But what about the rest of the world? Here's our new question of the week. How does your home country promote green energy? Tell us. Just go to our website at dw-world.de/English/Made in Germany. That's all one word. Fill in our online questionnaire and you'll automatically qualify for our monthly draw. And of course, you could then look forward to a prize. You'll have a chance of winning this USB card, which includes our special series on cars. And we look forward to hearing from you. Last week, we asked you what you thought of making fuel from food. Now, Centre Vojvodina from Serbia writes that if there was scientific proof that biofuel was indeed eco-friendly, then it should be used. And Centre suggests that there should be financial incentives for car makers to develop biofuel engines and for oil companies to produce and distribute biofuels. That could be costly, but nevertheless an interesting thought. So thank you, Centre, and congratulations. You've just won our USB card, which includes our special series on cars. Enjoy. Well, this year, France is the official partner at the Hanover Trade Fair, and the French ceramics industry will also be on hand. But if you're looking for a new set of fine china or an exclusive wedding gift, you will be disappointed, because the companies at the Hanover Fair are less into elegance and more into high-tech, like 3D Ceram, a company that specializes in high-tech ceramic components that are used in biomedical solutions or the nuclear industry. 3D Ceram is based in Limoges in central France. Limoges has been famous for its porcelain since the mid-18th century and remains the center of the French ceramics industry. Here's more.
Cyril Delage is a ceramics engineer. His clients are doctors and his area of expertise highly complex. This is one of his current jobs. A hunting accident took off half the top of a patient's skull.
Doctors send us X-ray pictures. Then we design a perfectly fitting template in 3D on the computer and use a special laser to make a three-dimensional reproduction. The implant in the skull is 100% ceramic.
This substitute for a vertebrae is also ceramic. Demand for porcelain as a substitute for bone in the body is on the rise. The 3D Ceram company is the first in the world to take full advantage of porcelain's potential.
This vertebra has two parts, impenetrable on the outside and porous inside. That allows the bone to grow back. And what's special is that ceramics are very similar to bone matter, so the human body doesn't reject the replacement part.
3D Ceram is one of many high-tech companies headquartered in Limoges. In this futuristic building overlooking the city, researchers develop new applications for the material. Limoges is the ceramic centre of the world. It's situated in the middle of France, and that's no coincidence. The region has been famous for producing traditional porcelain since the 18th century. The colours seem especially brilliant, thanks to contrast with the porcelain's pure white. What makes it white is kaolin, which is abundant in the region. But elegant tableware worthy of display in the National Museum wouldn't keep Limoges prosperous by itself. Today, only 10% of the people working here are in the traditional branch, like this factory near the museum. Ceramics are Arnaud Uri's life. He's an engineer and represents the industry all over the world. He designs the special machines for processing traditional ceramics, like in this company, the oldest in the region. To keep Limoges competitive, Audi invented a new technology, the ceramic laser. Logos used to be individually painted by hand. This laser can print 10 logos at a time, and that costs 12 per plate, instead of €1.30. And that's not all the laser can do.
This laser has lots of advantages. It can print and burn at the same time. This speeds things up because the plate doesn't have to go into the kiln again. And we save energy because the laser uses less electricity than a computer. And finally, we can respond more flexibly to our clients' wishes, because with the laser we can even print at the last minute.
Ori studied at Limoges College for ceramics. Today, he supports the new generation of specialised engineers and sponsors young researchers in Limoges. The goal is to keep improving high-tech ceramics, which he sees as the future of the industry.
Ceramics have many innovative characteristics: thermal, electrical, magnetic. They're used in insulation, in the nuclear industry, and for every kind of prosthesis in biomedicine.
And that's why Cyril Delage will remain in the region. Limoges is the only place in the world with experts who know how to make three-dimensional ceramic prostheses, and that makes him proud.
It's a great feeling to be able to help people to live a normal existence again, especially in cases of severe bone loss. We make it possible for people to live as they did before their accident.
Saving lives and maintaining life quality with porcelain is a fascinating challenge for Cyril Delage.
And for more, we're joined by Volker Dreyer from the German Chambers of Industry and Commerce. Amazing things that can be done with ceramics these days. Are there any other products that are reinvented in such a fashion?
Manufacturers, they and their products are always under pressure of the customer behavior, of the technological change. And we produced, for instance, in the textile industry only for clothing 30 years ago, 20 years ago. But then we had a radical change that we can use textiles also to produce cars, or to mix some textiles for the production of cars, for the production of bridges, of aircrafts, just to have lighter materials and nevertheless firm materials.
Now, the example we've seen in the report were high-tech components for biomedical solutions. I should imagine that's quite expensive. So how big a market is the biomedical market?
It is an increasing market. I would say it's a mega topic that aging society brings changes and necessity to change in the production, but also in the products. And for instance, the producers of medical engineering, they came out of the crisis very quick, and they haven't fallen such as deep as other branches, for instance, during the crisis.
How big a player is Germany in terms of high-tech solutions?
I would say we are one of the best players, and this is due to that we have internationalized our production, that we have sought for the customers abroad, not only in Germany. We are an decreasing society, a decreasing population in Germany, and that means that the market will shrink, and therefore we did it quite well to go abroad, to build up plants there, and to go to the customer.
Well, Volker Dreyer, thank you very much for the moment, because we'll be back with you in just a short moment. Speaking of growing markets, powerhouse China is an important market for German car makers. The question is, how long before Daimler or BMW or Volkswagen will have a major Chinese stakeholder? After all, Chinese investors are buying up companies around the world, increasing China's influence on the global economy and bringing with them their cultural values and leadership style. sometimes with surprising results. We visited a Chinese-owned company operating here in Germany and took a look at what happens when two very different cultures meet.
It's the early shift at Minmetals near Bremen. In this Chinese-owned company, everybody pitches in when necessary. Germans and Chinese work together. The staff of 21 make sheets of stainless steel, which are used, for example, for commercial kitchens. The production manager is from Germany, and the logistics manager is from China. People talk openly and directly at this firm. This can't be taken for granted, as management style in China is very different from that in Germany.
In China, the boss is king. And when the boss says something, the staff do exactly that. But here in Germany, ordinary staff members make lots of good suggestions.
Still, the parent company in China keeps a close eye on its German subsidiary.
When I was purchasing manager at other companies, I used to be able to make my own decisions within the constraints of my budget. I'd clear it with my boss, and that was that. Here it's different. First I make a cost-benefit analysis, then I go to my boss, who is German, and then he goes to the Chinese director, and they discuss it.
Upstairs in the booking department, the controller, Xiang Xingyi, and the director go through the accounts together every month. Headquarters in Beijing check all the figures in quite some detail, too. But apart from that, says Xia, who was born in Germany, the European subsidiaries have considerable freedom. She would have a hard time dealing with the traditional Chinese management style.
It's very strictly top-down management. It takes some getting used to. I can't say the decisions are wrong, but I'm not sure how much scope there is to express opinions.
On the shop floor, it's time for a break. The workers, German and Chinese, chat over breakfast about everyday matters, such as the price of fuel, which is soaring. If somebody new comes to work here, they have to get used to either the German or the Chinese mentality.
We Germans tend to be a bit gruff and direct. The Chinese mentality is much more cautious and careful. They're more diplomatic and less blunt. We say things straight out, whatever the cost.
If I have a problem, I now go straight to my German colleague and complain. Or we look for a solution together, instead of avoiding issues. I call that cooperation. I like it, really. It's not a problem for me anymore.
There is a division of labor at the German subsidiary that works well. German staff deal with customers in the region, while Chinese staff deal with headquarters. That would not be possible without trust.
When they get together and talk in Chinese about who knows what, then we're excluded. They could shut themselves off from us completely if they wanted to.
But they don't. The boss regularly holds workshops with the entire team. They're briefed on how the company is doing, and they discuss problems and brainstorm about possible solutions to keep the communication flowing and help maintain a good and open atmosphere at the company.
And we're back again with Volker Dreyer from the German Chambers of Industry and Commerce. Would you say that the example we've just seen here in the report is representative for German-Chinese corporate relations?
No, it is not. We have a lack of Chinese investments in Germany. the other way around is that we have invested a lot abroad in China, and we carried out a survey by the German entrepreneurs, and they say that the destination country #1 this year for German direct investments will be China, and this shows that the fear of Chinese investors is exaggerated in Germany.
So the fear of Chinese investors is exaggerated. I also believe that we do have a graphic ready for it. Perhaps we can see it in just a short while, showing exactly the figures that you implied. We have the exact figures here, the latest ones, which show that China invested 600 million euros in Germany, whereas Germany invested more than 15 billion euros in China. So that is quite a difference. Asking from another point of view, what's so exciting about China? Why do we invest there so much?
China is an amazing, huge market with, let's say, more or less favorable economic conditions. And in our survey, the German investors, they said, we want to go to China to explore and develop the market. And it is to less extent the cost advantage. We have a cost advantage in China, labor costs are lower. But this is not the point of motivation of the German firms. It's the market, the huge markets with more or less stable and favorable economic conditions.
Stable when it comes to the economy. What about the political conditions? Is that something that business turns a blind eye to, not just with China?
Yeah, to some extent, a company for itself has to be kind of opportunistic, we have to admit, because when this firm says, okay, I don't go to China, I don't go to Egypt or elsewhere, then other competitors will do it. So therefore we need political decisions to say, either to say yes or no to a production location.
Volker Dreyer, thank you very much. Well, German luxury cars are in high demand in emerging economies like China or India, where the growing middle and upper classes enjoy showing off their rise up the social ladder. The cars make great status symbols and they are fun to drive. And making that drive more comfortable is the job of Norbert Weber. As the head of interior designs at Audi, Weber makes it a point to find out what drivers want.
The cockpit. As far as the interior designers are concerned, this is the car's main feature. As head of interior design at Audi, Norbert Weber doesn't do much sketching himself anymore. He delegates.
I compare my job to a musician's. He starts out with a few chords and brings them together and sees what transpires. Sometimes he's confident it's going to come together. We often start out with a few sketches that we might put to one side for a few days, then take another look at them and realize there might be a starting point.
Visuals are one aspect of his work, but Norbert Weber also ensures that an Audi feels good. That means choosing the right materials and textiles and creating an overall experience that's comfortable and looks good. The aesthetic might be dark and sophisticated or light and youthful. Weber came up with this white oak paneling for the new Audi A7. Buyers can pay extra for luxurious details like this.
It feels a bit like the planks of a ship. You can feel the grooves between the strips of wood. My association is with a Mediterranean cruise, the sound of sails beating in the wind. It's a type of wood that has a certain luxury to it, a certain flair.
Man hat diesen Charakter und diesen Flair von diesem Art vom Luxus, dieses Holz ausstrahlt.
This is the car that Norbert Weber himself drives. The designer gave free rein to his creativity when he worked on the A7. He wanted buyers to feel like captains of a yacht. The hand-sewn steering wheel cover conveys a sense of authenticity. The gear shift feels malleable, and the wood paneling imbues the car with a sense of stability and comfort. state-of-the-art technology is just the press of a button away. Consumers are prepared to pay 50,000 euros and more for a car like this.
You need to have an instinctive feel and appreciation for the materials. Whenever I see an interesting fabric, then I can't resist touching it. What I'm keen to introduce to cars is a lighter dashboard and a greater sense of space.
It's an effect he achieved with both the luxurious Audi A8 and the A1 compact car. Norbert Weber spent 5 years developing the A7. He's moved on to his next project, but he's not ready to talk about that just yet.
And that's all we have time for this week here on Made in Germany. Don't forget that if you missed something, you can always access and watch the program again on our website on video on demand. I'm Monica Jones from all of us here in Berlin. Thanks for watching and see you again soon.